For as long as Hollywood has existed, so too has the screen goddess. From silent movie stars like Annette Kellerman, who transitioned into heroines of the talkies like Clara Bow, women and their bodies have been one of show business's biggest commodities. But in the modern age, where the film business has evolved and devolved and evolved again, what is a contemporary screen goddess? How do you even define something like that in the age of streaming, a narrowing theatrical window, state-of-the-art home theatre setups, and the era of peak TV? Who is the modern screen goddess? For over 24 years, 531 episodes, and 4 various Law & Order spin-offs, Mariska Hargitay has been solving crimes of an especially heinous nature as Olivia Benson. First debuting on screen in 1999, during the age of spunky, strong female characters like Buffy, Xena, Dana Scully, and Sydney Bristow, Olivia Benson and Mariska's portrayal of her has outlasted them all.
Hi, I'm Kodie Bedford and I'm a screenwriter. Olivia Benson, played by the goddess Mariska Hargitay, has been around on our televisions on Law & Order SVU since 1999 when the show first came out, a spin-off of the Law & Order franchise. And she was a detective who was sort of portrayed as hard-ass, a single woman in New York, but also really gave a shit about the victims and was on the victim's side. And there was this female detective on our screens really fighting for the voice of victims. And I can't tell you how important that was, I guess, in my circle of friends, in my circle of family, and people who have had traumatic experiences in the past, like the comfort they get from seeing characters like Olivia Benson on screen. We've just seen this woman for the past 24 seasons really grow through her life, become a single mum, and just also seeing now, as I've really become older, in my late 30s now, seeing older women, the lead of older women on screen, it's rare, unfortunately, but I so admire Mariska Hargitay for doing that role for 24 seasons because, you know, it's important we see that representation of women who are in their 50s and kicking ass and doing everything. Although I will emphasize fictionalized character. We call her Saint Olivia in the forums for a reason.
What's interesting about Mariska as a modern screen goddess is you don't get here.
And I'd like her balls in a blender, but ain't life a bitch.
Without the golden age of screen goddesses. Marilyn Monroe, of course, being the pinnacle of that. Such was her power during the mid to late 50s, rival studios were desperate to find the next Monroe, and the woman dubbed the next blonde bombshell was Jane Mansfield. In 1953, Hugh Hefner began publishing Playboy, which became a launch pad for Monroe's career, and just 2 short years later, Mansfield too posed for the magazine, becoming Playmate of the Month in February 1955. And like Marilyn, she was able to parlay that platform into a burgeoning screen and stage career, with Broadway play success, Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter, where she reprised her role in the film adaptation, appearing alongside her then husband, 1955's Mr. Universe, Mickey Hargitay, and also starred in raunchy comedy Promises, Promises, a film that made Jane one of the first major American actresses to appear nude in a post-silent era movie. She won a Golden Globe for musical comedy The Girl Can't Help It in 1957, with the peak of her career coming in the late 50s and early 60s, just before Marilyn's untimely death in 1962 at age 36. And tragically, as much as they were compared in life, Mansfield and Monroe became compared in death. In 1967, Jane Mansfield was killed in a car accident at age 34. Monroe and Mansfield were constantly paralleled, and not just because they were both natural brunettes who dyed their hair blonde and broke big with appearances in Playboy, or because of their talent as singers, actresses, and dancers, but because of their tragically short lives and how their status as iconic beauties captured the paradoxical nature of show business and the crippling pressures of fame. Mansfield was an icon partially cast in the shadow of Monroe, yet it would be her youngest daughter, Mariska Hargitay, who would go on to become a different type of screen goddess in a completely different medium some 32 years after her mother's death.
I totally think that the reason she is iconic, and she being Mariska / Olivia, and it's hard to separate the two, for me anyway, is because she's been on the screen for 20 plus years as this character, championing the voice of women who have been through like horrific crimes, basically victims of sexual assault, mainly in the show. But also Mariska, and I'm saying this like I'm first name basis with her, I'm aware, but Mariska also in her personal life has championed the voices of women who have been through sexual assault, not just women, men, and other gender identities, because she has, I think, realized that there is a very big problem like the testing of rape kits in the United States. Like, she's really become an advocate of getting that done through her own foundation, the Joyful Heart Foundation. So I think a lot of people, that's why they merged kind of Mariska and Olivia Benson together, because they're both kind of doing the same work. And that, for me, when I see an actor do that, is quite like, oh, wow, they actually give a shit about their job, not just their job as an actor, but their job as a human being in this world and being an advocate. So I think that kind of makes her an icon. But what really makes her like the cultural pop icon is being the daughter of Jane Mansfield, of course, like, who was absolutely a screen siren, like definition of.
Unlike screen goddesses of the past, including Mariska's mother, but also Marilyn Monroe, Katharine Hepburn, Audrey Hepburn, and other white ladies not named Hepburn, there's an argument to be made that Mariska is more famous than all of them, and her impact much more globally reaching. Why? Because Olivia Benson is in millions of people's homes, and has been for more than 2 decades. If you define a screen goddess as a woman who commands the largest checks, has professional power over their projects, name and face recognition on a global scale, well, those women are on TV. And at the very top of that ladder, a descendant of an OG screen goddess, Olivia Benson, Saint Olivia, Mariska Hargitay.